Morning, folks. So I thought it was time to do a bit of an explanation of what the hell it is I'm doing with all these boss gear. Now, from, I don't know, 2019 to 2021, 3 years, I was deep into the Helix. And then from there, I started doing all kinds of mishing and mashing up of DSP. Started out with HX Stomp and then added an Iridium to move the amps out of the way to give me more room in the Helix. Call it DSP displacement. 2019, I got the Was Airs and fell in love with these things, but they were really basic, but so cool. You had this freedom of popping this thing on your head, playing away, isolated from the world, and off you go. But when you started looking at the signal chains of these things, the app itself was very complicated, hard to get around, and eventually, after a few years, I figured out, okay, this thing is a Mark 1 katana. If you don't know the katanas, like if you're like I was off in the big world of Helix floors or flagship modelers of that sort that have multiple signal paths, you can do parallel links, you can control everything by MIDI or by snapshots. It's really kind of the same thing. The idea is that you have full control of parameters. You can morph things with expression pedals. You can do what you want, but only up to two paths. And the big problem with the Helix, as far as I was concerned, is to get this wall of sound, you could not switch from one preset to another. You were limited to the confines of a signal chain, and you could change anything in that. That's a snapshot. What I really wanted to do was to change everything any way I wanted to, switching through presets with gapless switching. Now you can kind of do that in the Helix, but you can only, there are caveats all over the place. So you can switch from one preset to the other, the ones in the background. If you switch then to another preset, whatever the one that was running in the background, that gets cut. So you will hear delays dropping out abruptly, etc. And that, again, wasn't the answer. So wall of sound is what I wanted. So what did I do then? I went off and got a matrix switcher from Morningstar and a whole bunch of pedals and started doing that. And there you could add multiple parallel layers and get things going, but you don't have the same control with the matrix switcher from Morningstar that you wanted. All this time I was running regular FR monitors. You know, I think at some point you consider this, okay, this is the top of the line, this is the best you can do, and it still wasn't satisfying to me. So with the love of the sound of these things and the effects that Boss had, which I thought were great, for a practice tool, it was like, it really amazed by it. I said, okay, I need to be able to record this stuff and demonstrate it. So I went and got a Katana Air, the basic one, the first one. And again, Mark 1 structure couldn't work. So from there, I started trying to fix it from 2001 to now 2024. That's 3 years of work looking at these things and saying, okay, I see potential in this. Boss should do something to fix it. So I started doing all these videos for Boss, had a really good relationship with them, still do. I'm working as an artist with them, and the whole push for me is wall of sound with no limitations, or as few limitations. It's going to kill all these little caveats. I want something that can change the sound any way I want. I want parallel paths. If you think about it, if you have an idea in your head for a sound, that's what I wanted now. I believe, and I'm hoping, this is the power of all the communities that have been created across Facebook and all of the people working together in these things, which is really cool. Guys like Cordy or Steve Sterlacci or, I don't know, there's a ton of guys in the Helix world that are bouncing around, the funk guy, whatever his name is, between all of the modelers, and they're all checking out all of the different things, high-end, super ones. Really, what I thought was coming from this little headset, then going through two Katana Airs, I could start doing things. So what did we do? We created an app to unblock it with Stefan Villeneuve in Canada. This, and this is all wireless and automatically connecting and super cool. That, what do we have? You could have a drive, and then you couldn't have that. You could have FX, and then you couldn't have delay. You could have another delay and reverb. That's basically a Mark I. What we did was add these two back in. AirSteps do that. So we don't have iOS. AirSteps will do that, but you can't really see it with the BTS apps. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks basically, and then 5 amps in there. And the cool thing about this, and really what my question is what's the best of the best of the best? I think the Axe FX is, without a doubt, supposedly the greatest thing since sliced bread. You can have 4 different channels. Well, this has 3. You can change these things as you like. Those would be like little channel changes, and that's all gapless. So of those 9 blocks, you can change them on the fly as a Mark II Katana. So basically, you've got not 3 signal chains or not 3 sets of effects. You've got 3 different sets of effects for 9 blocks. Do the math. I don't know statistically how that would work, but cool. The Axe FX, from what I understand, is now completely gapless. They've bested the Helix in that. It's got 4 channels. So enter this little puppy, the Katana Go. Now, unlike the Airs or the Mark II style Katana, which has a sort of really cool, weird switching major. I don't know how it works, but it works. Really cool. That's 3 times 9. This is different. It doesn't have this switching stuff like that. These 27 different effects, call it connected to 5 different apps, which you can move all around. This does it differently. Same thing, but instead of having only 6 presets with 27 different effects, this has 30. And you don't switch between them. So instead of the signal chain being 3 different lines, basically red, gold, and green, attached to 5 amps, this is 5 amps and 1 set times 30. So 6 presets in total, 30 presets in total, and you can flip and flop. So if you then connect this in parallel, simple as add a cable, stump, into the Katana, plug that into a wireless. The whole thing then is this super matrix of effects. 2 sets of 5 amps, choose what you want. So dual amps. You can control now with this and another app, both sets of chains, and the whole thing is all integrated into your speakers. So from there, we added this massive control board, which has an Iridium in there and everything. And this thing takes what I would consider like one of the best MIDI controllers in the world, the Helix 4. This is now besting that because you can go through and individually select not 4, but 3 plus 30 variations of 2 parallel lines. And either one of those, because it's in parallel, can sort of be the master. You could do everything here as your main feed and then concentrate on adding additional effects with the Katana Air. It's a matrix. You kind of do what you want. Now, what you can't do is change the order of the effects. But I think realistically, mathematically, this is not something that anyone would do. A signal chain has an order. The delays go where they go, etc. If you wanted to, you could take a little helix stomp, wrap all of this stuff around it, and add additional delays, as many as you want. You could change the whole thing into a helix, a catalyst. You have the catalyst amps. You've got a bazillion different effects. One little HX stomp, 1 amp, and this little gizmo, I think, would actually best an Axe FX. I don't know that for sure, so I would say, honestly, John Cordy or Steve Sterlacci or all the guys who are, John down in Florida, who have gone to the Axe FX, consider, or Scott Warden, as lowly as these things are, and they're not cheap, like a proper Katana Air is, I don't know, 400, 500. Plus all these controllers, this is a considerable investment. But does it beat the top of the line, best of the best Axe FX? We're not even talking about adding in external analog gear or all the other stuff, which you can do. It's mind-bogglingly cool, this thing, and I really wanted to do a video explaining the complexity and also the simplicity, because the greatest thing about this is it's all controlled from here. There are no real delays in transmission like you have with the Axe FX, which is running everything over SysX, so the time to update here is a lot faster than that. The flow of this is a lot more logical, at least in my mind, and the learning curve to get this thing going and to switch, between pass, it's as simple as do that. Kill one. If you want to change the gain, do that. If you want to have fun with it, just map it to an expression pedal, and you can morph between it or add a helix, and there's the game. So that really is, for me, the ultimate goal of creating those sounds. On top of that, there's another layer, I think, which should be built. If you think of this in terms of like network communications and stuff like that, these editors all control the individual amps. You could have HX Edit as an editor. You can have K Air MIDI and W Air MIDI as controllers for these things. The Go, there's a MIDI patch app for that. Stefan has really been the guy to make all this stuff happen. But it's the community pushing it to improve and improve and improve and improve and improve this stuff, which make a super matrix. For me, ultimately, what I would like to see is Boss or Line 6 or the Axe FX guys or whoever is out there, Yamaha, make one of these systems with all of the proper engineers, instead of us, the community, going and fiddling and fidgeting and doing all this stuff. Take all of these ideas and make a super modular, MIDI 2 compatible super system with all of this stuff figured out, as we're doing here. I think that would be great. You should be able to have a tiny little modular amp, and if you want 2, get 2. If you want 3 for a wet, dry, wet, get 3. Have them all network together. Have a super expandable modular foot controller for these things. and have an app that will work on Android or iOS, or make your own tablet, whatever, that sits there in the middle to control these things visually, do the Fender thing and make it super flexible, or the positive grid bias effects type super graphics, and let's go to town. For me, that would be the whole thing of these 3 years of work. Create the next super gizmo. I think, collaborate. Just find one of these companies should make a fully modular, super simple to control thing like this, where you can see the stuff at your feet, you can see the stuff at your hands. It's all completely battery powered, wirelessly linked, super networkable, mega system. Can we beat AXFX? Can we beat the Helix? Can we beat all of this stuff by just combining it into a super system? And is there a company out there which can do this and make it all talk with MIDI 2.0? Better control systems, little knobs like the Iridium here to manually do it. That's what I would like to see. Everyone just get together and make a push to the super mega modular system that you just walk in with your guitar, your amp, your foot pedal. It's all disconnected, so you can put it wherever you want, in front of you on a desk like I do with this thing, or on the floor, or on a couch, top of an amp, so that it's nice and safe. Put your stuff where you want it. Have it all talk completely. Have the communication be two-way so that all of this stuff connects and sets out. And you have the greatest thing since sliced freaking cheese, Push to have something wicked. This, I think, in all of my frigging around for this time, would be the direction to go in. That's what I would love to see from the next Helix. A super small, super modular, super intelligent system where you can just keep adding speakers. You can make stereo rigs. You can make quadraphonic rigs. You can add this stuff in and do cinematics. That's, I think, where we should go. You should be able to create whatever you want with the lightest thing possible, totally modular, and as you need more power, add in more speakers. A super matrix MIDI-tude thing. And it should be something like that, something simple, where one little lamp, one screen, a expandable super controller, and of course, headphones that are wireless like this, that talk to all of that. You know what I mean? That's my wish list. That's what I would like to see by 2026, is a sea change in the way that all this gear works. Unite the whole thing and make something super cool where you can continue to, like in the Helix world, add in old effects, analog effects, studio work, a super glue that just unites everything and presents it in a way that works well. Touchscreens, the whole thing. End of, not rant, love letter, let's say, to the companies out there doing this stuff. Because for me, this boss stuff showed me the light towards what I think would be the future, for sure. And it's still a long way from that. It's been a lot of work just to get this thing to work how I want. It could even be better, but that's what I'm saying. Do it. 1953, that's enough. See ya.